First up, you just saw him receive a very fetching man bag. It's the creator of the comic series, Robert Kirkman, ladies and gentlemen. Dave Alpert, executive producer on the show. If Dave would like to come up as well. We have David. Denise Hoop, the co-executive producer on the show, will be joining us. One of the greatest special effects and executive producer, of course, that is Greg Nicotero. Where's Greg? Gail Ann Hurd is with us as well. She has produced more hit movies than any of us have seen, but Gail will be coming up here as well. She's also an honorary Brit, so thank you for that, Gail. Glenn Mazara, showrunner and executive producer. Here's Glenn coming up with his prison cup. We can rattle against the jail wall. We have Andrew Lincoln, of course, Wick. Where's Wick? Let's bring Wick Grimes back up. Andrew Lincoln. Laurie, played by Sarah Wayne Callis, of course, very much one of the hearts of the show. Good morning to you. Carol, the hunk of the show. Norman Reedus, join up, Norman. Right. Of course, the coat of anger is played by the lovely Laurie Holden. Laurie's going to join us as well. Hello, Laurie. Stephen Wen, who plays Glenn. Where's Glenn? Everyone loves Glenn. Here comes Glenn. Lauren Cohan, who's a very new character, Maggie. Come on, Maggie. And now we have two of the newest cast members. You won't have seen yet. They joined for season 3. Danai Gurira, who plays the fabulous Michonne. And the fabulous David Morrissey, who's going to be Oh, I didn't miss anyone else. Okay, so I'm going to start with Robert and work my way down, and then we'll work our way back, I guess. So, Robert, congratulations on the 100th issue.
Thank you very much.
An incredible achievement, as anyone who knows and loves comics, and the fact that you've managed to keep it fresh and interesting and as engaging as ever is remarkable. Anyone who's read the series will know that you're a cruel and very disturbed man, and you should really seek the help you need. But now you have a hit TV series, we know that won't happen because you're surrounded by people enabling you to carry on in this way. But is there pressure for you to actually tie in the comic more with the series, or vice versa? When you write now, are you more aware of the TV audience's needs and expectations?
I like keeping them different. I think that you know, there is a large fan base for the comics, but you know, one of the things that makes the comic popular is the fact that it is, you know, very shocking and you can't really predict what's going to happen. And so I love the fact that the television show can exist separately from the comic. It adapts stories at times, it improves stories a lot of the time, I'm proud to say. And you know, it does things that are shocking even to people who are extremely familiar with the comics. So I think it's a great mix.
Do you in the writer's room, do you bring in the kind of message from the fans when they complain about certain characters they love, like Tyrese, for example, who hasn't appeared yet? Do you bring it in and say we really should start listening to these guys, or is that not an issue?
I don't want to listen to anybody. So, no, I mean, I am the one in the writer's room that has been writing the Walking Dead comic for 10 years and is bored by it. And so I'm the one that's like, no, let's do this, it'll be different. Let's do this, that's crazy. And then it's everybody else going, calm down, no, that was good, we can do that. So, you know, I don't know where I'm going with that. So.
As a fan of both, though, I think it's great that they're both different. I think it's great you get different things.
Comics all right.
Let's go to Dave Alpert, the executive producer. Dave, Series 2 ends, of course, with that great shot, big wide shot, and you see the jail. The prison is looming in all the characters' lives. I don't know whether I'm mistaken, but I assumed that jails in America were still quite popular, quite full, quite useful, quite necessary. Did you have to find a new jail? Did you make a new jail, or did you find an empty one that just in an area where crime is no longer happening?
No, all the jails, all the real jails are full, so we keep filling them up. So no, we had to, we actually built the set, you know, turning out a nice studio into a jail sort of background. At the end of the season, we sort of, you know, used a design based off of, you know, sort of an idea of what we were doing, and then we ended up building it over in between seasons 2 and season 3.
And you shoot, most of it's shot in Atlanta, if I'm right. Is the studio down there as well? Do you have a studio in Atlanta?
Yes, it is.
So it's all down there?
Outside, yeah.
And do the tax breaks you get there make up for the terrible weather that you have to shoot?
I believe it for Denise, but no, I would say no.
Okay. That's because, of course, you're not there as much as Denise.
Denise is there all the time.
Although we have many esteemed executive producers, as we all know, it's, you know, you become an executive. I think I'm an executive producer now for doing this morning. Denise is the hands-on, the heart of the show. She's out there on the coalface making this happen. Yep. Denise, what are the challenges that you face most in season 3? What are the most exciting developments in continuing to make the show?
It's always exciting to make the show. It just keeps getting better and better, and I think the best part about it now is with season 3, we've really hit our groove, and we have almost entirely the same crew as we had last year, and the cast and the crew are incredibly tight. And it is a family down there, and we're all in it together with the heat and the bugs and the crazy stuff the writers send us to do. So it's fun to see how it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and we keep saying, I can still do this.
Well, we're glad you are still doing it. Let's go to Greg Nicotero. Greg is one of the greatest special effects done in the industry. I met Greg, was it 24 years ago, 25 years ago?
Evil Dead 2, I think.
Way back when, and he was making kind of zombie-like creatures back then. I would assume you've perfected that craft by now, but I think there are some exciting new zombies and zombie effects that you have for season 3, is that right?
Well, you know, the exciting thing is, you know, talking about the prison, you know, you walk onto the set. Grace Walker, who's our production designer, worked on a lot of the Mad Max movies, and you walk in and you really literally feel like you're there. So what's exciting about it is, you know, we have lots of walkers that would have populated the prison prior to the zombie apocalypse. So we have a lot of fun things to do with them, and there's a lot of them. I think probably in the first couple episodes we exceeded almost all of last year in terms of the numbers of walkers that we've done with my crew and I, and you know, we're just constantly trying to make them better and creepier and a little more decomposed, and you know, we're getting into some animatronic stuff this year, and just you know, keeping the audience guessing, you know, between what we do and then the visual effects company Stargate. You know, for me as a fan of the show, I mean, if I didn't work on it, I would watch it and love it as much as everybody here does. I think what's exciting is you keep it fresh and you keep it different. So you'll see one prosthetic makeup, and then you'll see a digital effect, and you know, you keep the audience guessing and you keep them on their toes, and you don't know where something's going to come out of, if it's dark or spooky, and then we have the great actors making it real. It's you know, it's of all the projects I've done, this is definitely one of the most rewarding.
And for you, I know we have kind of, they're medium-paced zombies, really. They're not slow zombies, but they're not fast zombies. Are you a slow or fast zombie man?
I'm a slow zombie guy. Simon Pegg and I have a huge, we're all about the slow walkers. You know, I mean, when they get hungry and there's food around, they'll be whipped into a little bit of a frenzy, but you know, between Denise and Gail and I, we'll do a scene, and if you see one walker in the back doing something wrong, it's like, Gail, like, get that guy, you know, run around, you, stop, that was bad, no Frankenstein, you know, do this. So we're very particular about, you know what, one walker that's doing something weird takes you out of the scene, and we try to keep it really, really grounded.
No one wants a fast zombie. It's like when you go to a convention center, no one wants a fast comic fan. Imagine if they could move quickly. I'm very scared of the ones in the mobility scooters, because they're...
We haven't done that on the show yet.
That's got to happen.
All would have died.
That has to happen. Gail Ann Hurd, ladies and gentlemen, legendary figure, Gail Ann Hurd. She's not on Twitter, she is executive producing this show. Gail, the appeal of zombies generally, why is it? Why did you come to this project, and what is it that we seem to not be able to get enough of them, but certainly, and that's in no way diminishing this show, because this is the finest example, I think, but certainly there seems to be something quintessentially appealing about the fiction involving zombies.
Well, first, I credit our award winner here, Robert Kirkman, for creating, I think, the best ongoing zombie story. And obviously the show, I think, is popular because of the characters. But we have a fear of death. We have a fear of what would happen if we really didn't die and we came back. And I think that's across all cultures. And clearly the interesting thing with Fox International is in their 122 territories and 35 languages, it is a success everywhere. So there's something that speaks to all cultures about the fear of zombies.
Yeah, it crosses the barriers. It's like a kind of Benetton commercial, but with skin falling off. Kind of brings people together.
Yes, the United States of
Zombiedom.
Yeah, I should say walkerdom, because we actually don't call them.
You don't call them zombies. They do in the comic book. They come round to the idea of calling them zombies.
We're old-fashioned.
I love how committed Robert is to keeping the purity of the comic book. So, you don't know. Glenn Mazzola, showrunner and executive producer, is next, ladies and gentlemen. Dave, we talked about the prison set, and I know moving on to the prison storyline has been something that all the comic book fans have been excited about. I imagine the challenges of working on that scale must be greater than those you've encountered previously on the series.
Yeah, I think in previous seasons we had our group trying to settle down in little places, trying to hide from these zombies, and now, you know, they're out in the world, the entire landscape's fallen, and there's no safe place, and a prison looks good, it looks like it can be safe, and so they really have to, you know, take that on, and I think that what we wanted to do was create a prison that gave us that sense of scale and scope. I think Grace Walker did a great job building it. And it's someplace that you know they're willing to fight and die for.
Are you able to stick with the? I mean, I don't know if you even wanted, but the storyline in the comic book, that's when it becomes, I thought, particularly gruesome, particularly chilling. Some of the things that happen inside the prison. Is that reflected in the series, or do you ever water it down at all, or change it, or soften that for the TV audience?
No, you know what? We don't shy away from anything. I think we're in. You know, we're trying to be a faithful adaptation to the comic book, which is visceral, violent, shocking, and that's something that I'm proud to say we do on a daily basis, you know, and I think that as long as it's not gratuitous, as long as it's not over the top, and it really has some emotional resonance for our characters, I think that'll be pretty exciting to the audience.
Yeah, I can't wait to see this next season. Andrew Lincoln, ladies and gentlemen, Rick Grimes is here. Exuding movie star Paul, look at that, even with the grey beard. Andrew, can I just check, what's your actual name? What were you changed it to Andy Lincoln for the, let's face it, less intelligent American audience, but what's your actual name?
Why would you bring this up at a World Press Conference?
What was your name, Andy? What's the...
Andrew James Clutterbuck.
Clutterbuck.
We got the Clutterbuck.
But that's kind of, that makes it work for so many limericks right there.
Yes, it does, Jonathan. And I suffered in my youth for it.
What a great role to get, what a great role to win, and what a great performance you deliver in it. What's the challenge for you moving forward into season 3?
I think just to keep doing what we're doing, really. I mean, it is, like you say, it is the sort of dream part, and I just love playing this guy, and he gets pushed and pushed, and certainly this season I think that there's a point at which he reaches that point where he breaks, and I've been going, I believe the expression is batshit crazy for the last few weeks, and it's been great fun, you know. I couldn't have wished for a better role to sort of, you know, flex your muscles in and to, I don't know, it's just, like Denise said, the crew are magnificent and are just as much an important factor as anybody sat at this table. And it's unusual for a crew to come back, and pretty much 95% of them all came back this season because they love the show just as much as we do. And there is this amazing atmosphere on set, which is wild, raw, brutal, and exciting, and hopefully that comes across on film.
You know, the other thing I think that comes across as well as all those qualities is the fact that, you know, the emotional content, the kind of impact that you have there, the fact that it's more really about characters and real life people trapped in this.
Well, I think so, and I think that it's great being a ComicCon, and we were just talking about this, is that this is kind of the mecca for genre piece, and that kind of storytelling, and when it's done well, and the writing is good, and the production values are good, you can tell fantastic, primal, emotional, human stories, and I think that was always the way that it was pitched towards me. And you know, the pilot episode is the perfect example. Is that Morgan's character? He's the heart. That's the heart of that episode, and that was the reason why I wanted to do the job. Not because of Rick, not because of, you know, playing a badass sheriff, which of course is great. I get to shoot zombies for a living. But you know, it's the fact that we can do that as well in this extraordinary world that Robert's created.
It's a fabulous, enjoyable experience for us to watch, and as I said, I think not least, perhaps maybe largely because of the emotional side of it. And if we can move down to your wife in the series, Sarah Wayne, of course, Sarah Wayne Callis, who plays Laurie. That's the storyline that's unfolding between you two is extraordinary, and I imagine terrific for you to be able to get your teeth into as well.
It's amazing. I think Andy and I have had a really great time being miserable together. It's true. I mean, it's been a really horrible marriage in a lot of ways and a really beautiful one. But I agree with everything Andy said. I think this is, at its heart, for me, a story about a family. And what the Walkers allow us to do is to push that family beyond the limits of who they ever thought they could become. And you have two people who are so mired in loss and in self-hatred for the attrition of their best selves that they can no longer reach one another. And that's an incredibly powerful story, but it's also one, I think, to which people can relate. And there are a lot of people out there who are watching, who are in families and who are married, and in a sense, I think we can explore things that are very dangerous in the course of a marriage, because the world itself is so dangerous. And that's, it's really exciting. And Andy's one hell of an actor. There are a lot of actors who wouldn't put as much on the line. And so it's a great honor really to come to work and say, yeah, let's do the ugly version. Let's do the scary version. Let's not be safe today. It's good fun.
It's incredible to watch, and you said Andy's a great actor. I don't think there's a bad actor in it. There's not one who I wouldn't think is up there with the world's best. Although Dave Morris, we haven't seen him on screen yet, so let's wait to see. But we assume he's going to pull his weight when
we are accruing a large posse of Brits. Yeah. I mean, with every new casting, we seem to be balancing things.
I'm assuming this is Gail's influence. I know she's an Anglophile, very much an Anglophile, but I'm assuming that this is the Brits will inherit the earth. That's what's happening.
But none of them are Arsenal fans. So it's really
Gunnar Gale speaks out. Okay, let's. Well, we have Norman Reedus, ladies and gentlemen, who plays Darryl there, who is, representing the redneck community on television here, filling up the quota there. But I believe am I right in thinking you get a lot of fan mail, you get a lot of stuff sent to you, you get a lot of stuff to fill your trailer with from hot fans?
It's obscene, yeah. I was actually just thinking that I had one girl come up to me, and I was at a thing sort of like this, and she walked this long pathway up, and she handed me a plastic bag with wet meat in it. And I looked at her and she goes, "It's a squirrel." She goes, "I hunted it down with a shovel." And then turned around and walked off. But yeah, I get a lot of weird stuff.
So how was the squirrel?
I didn't eat it, but one person did. I forced one dude. I wasn't touching it.
You forced someone to eat a squirrel given to you by a strange psychopath.
I put them on the spot, and a lot of people started screaming, do it, and I think peer pressure won.
Yeah, that's bad enough. Imagine what the people who are going to star in Shades of Grey will get given in back. And I don't even know what that means. It just felt appropriate. But it's a great character, and of course, I don't know, obviously we're not in the business of giving spoilers away, but of course one of the things that drove your character forward early on in the series was the search for his missing brother.
Right.
And all we've seen of him so far was his hand. Can you intimate whether he might be reappearing, or would that be going too far, or am I guessing?
It's safe to say you might see my redneck brother somewhere around. But yeah, I mean, it was, it's weird for Darryl because he's this abused sort of, he's the younger brother of Merle, so he's constantly put down, and a backstory in my mind, he was constantly put down and humiliated and was never good enough. So once he's out of the picture and other people start to see Darryl's worth and he can feel it and feel like he's part of something, a group, and they welcome him in. It's kind of the reverse role of a lot of the cast members because they're being torn away from things. I'm kind of finding a world that I can flourish in. So, so it's kind of working out in Darryl's favor.
Well, I think it's obviously a tribute to your great acting skills, but also the writing, initially from Robert and now the team, that he's humanised to the extent he is. The fact that he isn't some sort of demonised, awful, backward character. The fact that we do see, as we see of all the characters, the complexity that makes humans so difficult sometimes.
Absolutely, and the writing this season is, oh my God, it's amazing. These guys are doing such a good job. I mean, Andy and I jump up and down in my trailer reading scripts, like, yeah, I can't believe we're doing this. It's really a dream job, and I love all these people so much, and I'm having the time of my life.
Let's have some more squirrel to celebrate.
Absolutely.
Okay, the fabulous Laurie Holden is next in our line of heroes in Zambia. what incredible performances she's already given us so far. Some of my favourite moments of the series. But series 2 ends with you, season 2 ends with you kind of out on a limb, removed from the group. Can you tell us what happens to you in the beginning of season 3? Are you very much, you more on your own? Do you have less people to bounce off of?
Well, I can't really tell you anything. But what I can say is, you know, I was saved at the last moment by the wonderful Michonne, who I know that fans are very excited to meet. I think it's fair to say that they become the best of friends, and it's a wonderful relationship. And I love the fact that there's these two alpha females that are strong, that have embraced each other and trust one another and are trying to survive, and they have each other's backs. It'll be interesting to see if my character ever meets up with this other group of survivors. They didn't leave me a note on the highway. Not bitter or anything. Yeah, he was going to look for me. But it's really interesting to see if they ever reunite, what happens when she finds out about Shane, because she doesn't have that information. And you know, a lot happens during a winter that changes you. So yeah, I think it's going to be a really exciting season.
I can't wait to see where she goes and where you go with her. We have Stephen Wen, who plays Glenn, next to his new season show on Cohen. Stephen, first of all, I'm thrilled that you're finally getting some action.
I'm getting a lot from everywhere. No, hold on. Why is everything I say and then you end up, I meant like getting thrown down a well, or having a beautiful lady. There's a lot going on for Glenn right now, and it's great. Yeah, it's great.
And Lauren, congratulations, another Brit on board, but a great one to have. And you, I guess this is you're going forward into the season 3. There's some big changes for your character coming up as well, aren't they?
Yeah.
If I'm right from the comic book.
Yeah, huge changes coming up. I think for one, Maggie leaving the farm and still getting to be with her family, but in a totally new world. Really seeing what's out there, like the group has seen, but also getting badass. So yeah, I mean, it's I think going to be a shock to everyone what the group goes through, and certainly what this farm family has gone through and become, and then to have a great relationship in the midst of it all. But yeah, so it's definitely going to be. It's good, yeah.
I can't wait to see you getting badass. However, you are sitting next to probably one of the greatest new badass characters in the history of modern popular culture. Michonne, Denai, good morning.
Good morning.
What a role to get. I can't imagine that there were many actors who didn't go for that. I understand, if rumors are true, both Dustin Hoffman and Robert De Niro auditioned. And you managed to get ahead of them. And what a great entrance. You had possibly one of the finest and most exciting entrances in this country. What are the most fun parts of playing Michonne? What are you enjoying the most?
I mean, it was funny because I was mentioning to Glenn, and I think I sounded kind of crazy, but after I got the role, I was like, you know, I used to be in the gym, you know, and I'd be working out and looking at myself in the mirror and saying, I just want to kill somebody on screen, you know. And he was like, okay. But like, you know, just that energy of this, you know, being able to play someone who gets to be that active and do that many fun things is really, really thrilling. And you learning how to use the sword was also extremely thrilling. And then getting to actually cut things up. Thank you, Greg, for making things for me to actually chop and kill. So I'm having a blast.
If I'm right, and once again, I know this trailer's been shown over there, so I won't be giving it away. Your appearance, you have two guys behind you on chains. You have these two zombie guys, one of whom I believe is an ex-boyfriend of yours.
I can say nothing about that.
Well, he is. And in the lift, that's right, not elevator, the lift that I used to get to the roof, I was with my daughter, and she said, why don't they bite her? And I believe she's chopped their lower jaw off. Is this correct?
Yes, I mean, she's insanely sharp and insanely, you know, she really knows how to make things work for herself. She's figured out how to navigate this world. And yeah, she realizes if they don't have jaws and if they don't have arms, they can't do anything to her. So, and she can use them for her needs. So why not do that? There they are.
I did that with my ex-boyfriend once, actually.
Well, my daughter said she could chop off the arms, but the jaws would be too much. So I don't know whether that's a common thing amongst the ladies there, but anyway. Okay, David Morrissey, ladies and gentlemen, one of Britain's finest, tremendous on those stage end screens. And here he is as the governor. Is the governor, I mean, comic fans will know who the governor is when it comes from. Is he, in your opinion, is he bad? Is he good bad? Thinks he's good but he's just bad? Or is he good but everyone else is bad? Does that make any sense to you?
That made a lot of sense. I think he's a terribly nice man. I think he's misunderstood, but you know, I think you'll have to wait and see to see how bad he gets. Really.
Yeah. I think you prefer playing bad to playing good, don't you?
Yeah, I have been cast in those roles once or twice. Yeah, I played Gordon Brown once. He's not terribly bad, but yeah, you know, it's just great to join this cast and crew. I have to say, I came to the show as a fan. I've known Andrew for a long time, so when the show came out in the UK, I was watching it and I loved it. Very quickly got involved in the show, and so when the opportunity came up to join it, I took it with both hands. It's fantastic, and I have to say, filming down there in Atlanta, Andy alluded to it, it's just, I knew there was a great cast and I knew the writing was fantastic, but nothing can prepare you for the crew. You walk on and the crew are fantastic. The atmosphere on set every day is just wonderful to work in, and you never know that walking into a show. You never know what it's like. And it's been I've been welcomed with open arms, and it's just so exciting to be part of it.
Of course, this is the last year you can walk over there on the comic convention floor without being mobbed.
Without my false beard.
Yeah.
I'll borrow yours next time. But yeah, no, I'm looking forward to.
How dare you talk about my wife?
So yeah, no, I'm going to go over there later on, I think. Well, I shouldn't say I'm not going over there. No.
Okay, let's come back to Robert now before I open the floor. Robert, once again, congratulations on 100 issues. But, you know, just seeing that cast and the crew that you have involved in, the writers you work with, this wouldn't happen if you just created a zombie book, if it was a book about zombies. It's an incredible achievement. It's incredible writing, what it says about people. And the tagline, I don't know if you've been told this for season 3, is fight the dead, fear the living. And I think that's just incredible, you know, very smart slogan, but it really sums the show up.
I agree.
Was that you, or was that was a team of caffeine-fueled, unattractive people who we couldn't invite along with you?
The fight the dead, fear the living thing. That would be the brilliant and amazing marketing team at AMC, I believe. But I will totally take credit for it.
Well, you deserve that credit, as you deserve everything that comes your way.
Yeah,
okay, let's open the floor. Who has questions for anyone here, basically? Who would like to go first? Who has a pressing question burning into the front lobe, perhaps, which is still working?
No one?
Zombie. We did such a great job. We have someone over here.
Thank you very much. Hello, my name is Chris from Empire Magazine. My question's for Stephen. What did you think when you read issue 100 of The Walking Dead?
No spoilers, though.
No spoilers. But let's talk in general terms. What you thought? Did you like the issue?
I mean, the issue was awesome. You know, I don't want to lay any. I don't know. That's Robert's thing, and it's cool that I get to play a character that he chose to keep around in that reality to the 100th issue, and that's amazing. But man, like, it's so twisted. I don't know. I mean, you guys have it right there, but it takes 3 pages to get them, and each frame is that much more disgusting. And Glenn and I were actually Glenn Mazzarri and I were just talking about it right there. And he saw the frame for the first time. He's like, "Yeah, you're not coming back from that. Like, there's no way. You're just a pile of mush and an eyeball. So you're good." So that's done, but it's amazing. It's really cool.
Grant, sorry, Jonathan, have you not read it yet?
I haven't read it. Most of us haven't read it. Why would you ask that? What's wrong with you? You English journalists. You're just showing news. Weirdo. Weird freak. Anyone else want to ask a question and be greeted in such a warm way by me there? No, because they're our guests. I'm going to punch you in the arm. Who has a...
Here we go. Hi. I just wondered, I went to the Walking Dead escape last night and it's really intense. I would like to know, how do you guys prepare to do it every day at work? To run from zombies?
Greg scares us.
It's, you know, for us, I know Sarah said it the best in season 1, is that our makeup trailer would be right across from their makeup trailer. So the zombies would come out, and then they would come out and they'd sort of look at each other, and the zombies would go one way and the cast would go the other way. And you know, for us, I mean, watching these guys every day covered in sweat and gore, and you know, you got to think in the zombie apocalypse, after a while you can't use guns anymore. You got to get a little more intimate. You don't want to use all your ammunition. So one of the fun things about season 3 is there's a lot more intimate hand-to-hand combat, you know, with some of that weaponry, and so that means that they're closer, and the closer you get to them, the more intense it is. And I think the more jeopardy of being scratched or being bitten. So, you know, we certainly play that up a lot. There's a lot more proximity to our threat this year.
Yeah, there was a stunt in an opening sequence in episode 1, and I have quite a rather large weapon in season 1, a machete, and I was doing this fight sequence, and I had to stab the guy in the head, and I sort of made a mistake, and I stuck it in his mouth. And he just went, and I had to stop. I rarely sort of try and stop a shoot, you know, in a tape, and I just went, I'm so sorry.
It was a rubber machete.
It was a rubber machete.
He tends to not stab real people.
No, I mean, I didn't. But he just went, it's absolutely fine. And it was just like, that's kind of what it's like shooting the show. You know, we try and give it all we've got, but it's sort of, you know, sometimes you get a machete. Sometimes you get a machete.
And by the way, at the end of the day, he came over and was like, how cool is it I got stabbed in the mouth by Andrew Lincoln? Like, he will probably tell all of his friends that story for the next 10 years.
Yeah, they do. Like, people come and say, can I have the bullet shells? And when I sort of shoot people, and I say, and they sort of sidle over when I'm sort of taking the guy's head out. Can I have that? I'm like, yeah, all right.
For Robert, how hard was making the decision in the 100th episode, in the 100th issue, in terms of what happens to
I just want to point out that we are here to talk about the television show. This is uncalled for. No, it was, you know, it was worked out very far in advance. You know, something that I'd been building towards for a lot of issues, and you know, was very difficult to write because you know the things do kind of upset me. I'm not going to say anything. Don't worry. So you know, when Rick died, it was really upsetting. You know.
Okay, any questions about the TV show?
Hi, I'm Nadia from South Africa. Robert, and the rest of the cast, I mean, in the day and age where it's so hard to capture anybody's imagination for longer than, 10 minutes, we get the 3rd season. What is it, do you think, that's just kept this going so well and just got so much support from people?
I mean, I think everyone would agree, this is like the coolest TV show ever made, right? I mean, it's people hacking up zombies and doing awesome stuff, but there's also like tremendous tremendous emotional impact and all kinds of you get really invested in these characters and you want to come back for more. I mean, I don't know. Anybody? Anything else?
Well, there might be something to be said for the fact that the show evolves. You know, that I mean, it's changing even when you were talking about how our response to the walkers. I mean, the first year it was mostly fear. By season 3, it's a lot of rage. I don't think we're as afraid of them as we are just sick of this mess. And you know, we have a revolving door cast, and that's another part of what works. There are no sacred cows, and we shoot little girls in the face, and we lose huge characters, and we bring in new characters. And I think there's something about the need for the show to continually be reinventing itself and not just sort of going, oh, that worked last week, let's do it again.
Laurie, you were going to add something?
Yeah, I mean, I just think the source material is fantastic, and at the same token, Glenn Mazzara and his writers are, deviating a little from the comic books, but also honoring the source material at the same time. And I just think it's a real exploration of humanity and the human condition, and I think you are not doing this, Norman. That's on Twitter now, I'm sure. But I just think, especially right now with the economic crisis and the hard times, I think that people can really relate to the desperation and the ferocious human emotions that we explore, in The Walking Dead.
I just wanted to add, just having watched it for 2 seasons before I was a part of it, it's pretty amazing. Just watching, as you mentioned, the human condition, but really that question that kept coming to my mind as I watched it was like a war zone. It was like, who would you be, when everything's gone? Who are you going to become? Because you're not going to be the same person you are right now. Something's going to shift. And that was what's so fascinating, is watching all the different responses to an insanely dire moment, and then seeing how people choose to survive or not. And it was just thrilling, and to see that the beauty of how these characters and these actors were telling a story in the smallest, quietest moments, and that was so compelling and inspiring just to observe. It was like, better step in and, you know, bring your all, because that's what they're doing, and I think that compels people to want to keep watching.
I just want to add to that. You know, this was I've been a genre fan my whole life, and it seems now as we're going to the 3rd season that it was an easy decision to make to put a show like this out there. But honestly, I think that AMC and Fox International took a huge chance on showing that there's a demand for smart genre fare out there that doesn't condescend to its audience. And I think honestly, we were lucky to be one of the first shows to really sort of tap into that vein in a real way. And I just want to say thanks to Fox International and AMC for getting us there.
Hi, Sarah. This is for Sarah. Don't you sometimes get pissed with Laurie? Really pissed, like, oh, I should kill her, and then, you know? Because sometimes she pisses me off. I don't like Laurie. Nothing personal. I love you, but you know.
I hear that. No, you got any more? You want to get that?
If you were Laurie, probably I would.
I want to know what you do with baby. No, actually, is the short answer. I love her. And it's my job to make sure that I can navigate everything she does from an emotional place of understanding and compassion. You know, Frank and I, from the very beginning, before I was even cast, we were talking about wanting to make sure that we never turned this character into Our Lady of the Apocalypse. I think it would be ridiculous if she was a sort of perfect mother and a great wife and had an apron on and had an apple pie at the end of the apocalypse for break. You know, this is the end of the world and people are falling apart. But I think the response to Laurie is really interesting because you've got a lot of people falling apart and a lot of people doing some very difficult things. Laurie is a mother, she's a sexual figure, and she's a woman who made a big mistake with her marriage. You put all those 3 things together, and you got a lot of people really uncomfortable and really angry, and I love it. I just love it. I think there's something great about starting a conversation and a dialogue, even if it's an argument, about what is fidelity at the end of the world, and what is it to be a good parent in a world like this. I think it's kind of great. So I'm thrilled that you're mad. The difference between me and Laurie. Some people don't, and they just kind of. I'm like, you know, I take the makeup off at the end of the day, and I go home, and I'm not married to this guy. So.
Any other characters people want to kill?
Hi, Joanna from Poland. Just a question for the whole cast. This is the show where we saw a man shooting a little girl. And is there any border any line that you wouldn't cross? Are you shocked by something in the script anymore, or the gore factor is so, so low that you can't really get shocked anymore by anything?
No one wants to answer that question.
Well, I always find it interesting because the gore serves the story. I mean, personally for me, I don't particularly think the show is that gory. That's just me. Other people I've heard other people think it's gory. But truthfully, one of the first things that I learned doing effects with George Romero was that it has to serve the story. We've never stopped the show to do a gag just for the sake of showing a gag. When Laurie crashes her car and the walker's forcing its face through the windshield, what we wanted to show was that these things are ravenous and will literally dismember themselves to get to food. So that was, putting our character in jeopardy. And I think that's really critical, is that those things all serve the story. And you have 3 great things that I always talk about with The Walking Dead. You have great performers, you have a great story, and you have a great monster, and it's a very delicate balance, and any one of those gets out of balance and it sort of wants to collapse and fall apart. But we really work hard at keeping those things balanced, and I think between the writers and the actors and stuff, they do a phenomenal job. So there's not really a lot of people say, hey, have you ever feel like you've stepped over the boundaries? The beauty is there really aren't any boundaries for what we do. We want to push the show and make it edgy, and so it serves the show. So, you know, that's kind of...
Would it be fair to say that because you always see the emotional fallout as a result of the extreme gore, if you will, you see that kind of helps to not justify but certainly explain it?
Yeah, I think that's important because we are playing these people as someone said, you know, this is a war zone. And there's a great amount of trauma, there's a lot of emotional fallout, and that's where we get our stories from, where, you know, these characters are driven to crazy acts and stuff, and then they deal with it, and how do you process that, and how do you know, pretend to have a normal life or rebuild civilization or any of those things that you would think these people would do when everything's so desperate. So that's really the heart of the show, is our people. You know, yes, you have these shocking moments, but then it's about the emotional impact on the audience, on the characters.
I don't know if we have time for some more. Yeah, because the My Little Pony panel is starting over in the main hall, and everyone, Robert's speaking on that. And later on, there's the Walking Dead panel. It's 2 o'clock. I don't know how many people. 1:30. 1:25, they keep going earlier, 1:25, where they will be announcing the big Walking Dead Glee crossover show, so make sure you're there for that. But will you join me in saying thank you to everyone here?
Yes, thank you everybody, and thanks to the panel. Thank you, Jonathan, you're a very lively moderator. We will see you next year. Thanks everybody for coming.